When you mention the word fashion anywhere in the world, of course, everybody will know what you're talking about, whether it is fashion in terms of shoes, in terms of bags, in terms of dressing or different designs, Louis Vuitton, Michael Kors, and etc. But this is the point. When we talk fashion within the context of the African continent today, and you ask the question, what Africa's fashion? And people will answer, well, it's what I like is Louis Vuitton, it's Michael Kors. That's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what I want to bring today is a different dimension. If you look at the entire African continent today, Africa has been not just the seedbed of second-hand clothes, but at the same time, most African countries and even citizens do use second-hand material, second-hand clothes that comes from elsewhere. Nothing wrong with that. But this is the point I'm driving to. When you talk of fashion, especially today, the environment needs to be at the center stage, because just that one pair of jeans that you're wearing, do you know the amount of water that was used to produce that one jean? 7,000 liters of water to produce one jean. That is water that could be helping a community, not just access to water, but also using that water for irrigation. So the point I'm bringing, we need to think of what we call sustainable fashion today. But fashion that also represents our cultural values, because that is an asset that we keep missing. Have you ever thought how you could use your own kitenge from your own village to pass a message of unity from your community? Have you ever thought about how you can be able to blend modernity with tradition? Like what I'm wearing today, it actually represents the grass field where I come from. I come from the northwestern part of Cameroon in a small village called Jinquin. And we are part of the grass field. They call us Ngafi people, which is okay, and that's excellent. And where I come from, this design represents our cultural heritage from the Bamilekes that have this kind of representation down to the Bamenda people and Kom people that have this representation. But I did come up with this design to represent both modernity, because it's a shirt that is really like a modern shirt, but at the same time, it have that connotation and it correlates the different cultural values. The overriding point I'm making is that fashion is a business opportunity. You can actually use plastic waste to make bags that could actually be an opportunity. So today, go and learn that skill on how to turn plastic waste to make bags for kids to be able to carry their book to school, to make shoes for people to buy, to make apparel, and even produce shirts like this from plastic waste. That is an opportunity. And therefore, when we all develop interest in fashion, we should be able to tap into opportunities that are out there and no one is actually tapping into them. I know a couple of young people across the continent. We have Adejuka in Nigeria, who is turning plastic waste into apparels, into slippers, into shoes, into school bags. But how many of us are developing interest to produce things like the shirt I'm wearing? The shirt I'm wearing is not necessarily from plastic, but you can be able to do something like this. Overarchingly, this is $1 trillion US industry. What are you waiting for? Why don't you become a designer, but make sure that you project Africa's image to the world through designing, through clothing, so that at least we can start to reduce, not just depending on second-hand clothes, but start to recycle what we have to produce what we need. And that is what we call a circular economy, which is very simple. Nothing gets wasted. It gets turned to alternatives that help create jobs and at the same time reduce the pressure on the environment. Will you become a designer? I think you should.